Gabriel, lovely to see you. The film is absolutely fantastic. It's great
Oh,
to,
thank you.
I don't have to lie or anything like that. I thought it was stupendous. I was
Thank
really,
you.
I was really surprised by how much you were in it. I got word 2 weeks ago that you were available for an interview before I saw it, and they said basically you play the young Spielberg, and I thought it was going to be kind of young, old, older kind of thing. But you're the main guy in the movie for nearly all of it, or certainly 2 hours of it. Were you surprised when you got the script?
When I got the script, when I was auditioning, the character's name was Teenage Sammy.
Okay.
I thought as opposed to adult Sammy.
Yeah.
And I get the script, and for the first 30 pages, he's a little kid. And then Teenage Sammy shows up.
Mm.
And the film's been Paul and Michelle mostly as my parents. And so I fold every page I'm in to make sure I know what scenes to memorize. And then I'm waiting for adult Sammy to show up, but he never does.
Yeah.
Nobody told me that.
Yeah.
Nobody told me that I was the main character of this movie. And for even like every new draft, and even on the call sheet, it was Teenage Sammy. And I just felt like this is so strange. Nobody warned me.
Yeah. And so when you did the audition, I presume you were very much in the dark as to what it was all about. Were you just reading lines, or did you have a sense that this was some thinly veiled memoir of Stevens?
The first audition I had was for an untitled Amblin film, and that could be any.
Okay. Yeah.
Amblin is a big production company. They have their tentacles in lots of things, and you just two scenes, you don't think anything of it, you send it in, and then it's not until after I send them the audition, I'm calling to find out if I've gotten any feedback,
Mm.
and they go, yeah, I think I'm hearing rumors that it's a Steven Spielberg movie about his life, and you just auditioned to play a young him.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh my God, and I get all excited. And so I'm calling back every day to find out what happened. And I come across these articles. Michelle Williams is attached to this movie to play Steven Spielberg's mother, Paul Dano, his father, Seth Rogen, his uncle. And I hear nothing for 3 months. So you assume you don't get it. And
Yeah.
like most other auditions. And then in May, they want a call back with the casting director. And so I stack my books up on my dining room table. I have my laptop there for the Zoom. I have my tripod. I'm filming myself on my phone. That goes really well. The next day, they say, Steven Spielberg would like to meet with you now. I'm like, oh my God, here's another scene, as well as that other scene. Books, laptop, tripod, phone. Again, I meet with Steven, and I felt really, really good about it. It to the point of like, look, if it's not me, he's just looking for a different character. I did my job. We had a
Yeah.
lovely meeting, and if it's not this, it's the next one. He knows me. He knows of me. That felt pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the next day, they tell me I got it, and it's just
Wow.
nuts.
Yeah. I'm nearly twice, I'm more than twice your age because you're 20. And, for me, Steven Spielberg, it's not an exaggeration, but he probably changed my life. I went to see
Too.
E.T. when I was 5 or so. Yeah. And I was going to ask you about that because he's been making movies for so long. Were there particular Spielberg movies that inspired you?
I mean, I grew up with Indiana Jones and
Mm-hmm.
Jurassic Park and E.T. and all the obvious ones. But as I started to appreciate film in a more sophisticated way, and I started studying it a lot more on my own and getting into Empire of the Sun and The Color Purple and
Okay.
Schindler's List and Saving Private
Yeah.
Ryan and Close Encounters and Catch Me If You
They go
Can.
on and on.
They go on and on. You really realize like this guy knows what he's doing. I mean, we watched Schindler's List in history class,
Yeah.
and he's in our curriculum at school.
Yeah.
He's this figure that almost doesn't exist as a person. And so it's so joyful to get to know him as a person and to learn that, oh, he's a really humble and genuine and normal guy who just happens to be obsessed with making movies.
Yeah. You know, the film is very emotional in times, as well as being terribly sweet. And I heard somewhere his Steven's kind of chat to you all on the last day of filming or the final scene or something. I presume at times it was a very emotional set.
It was an emotional set, and he works with the same crew on every film he's ever done, or in the last 30 years at least. And even they said the vibe is different, and on the first day of shooting, I asked Steven, I go, are you, after getting to know him for about a month leading up to it, I asked him, like, how are you feeling about this? And he's like, what do you mean? I go, are you nervous at all to film all these things? And he goes, oh, don't worry, I got all my cries out writing the film. I'll be totally good. And his mom had passed about 5 years before he filmed the movie, and his dad about 2 years prior to that. And so when Paul and Michelle are on set together for the first time in costume, makeup, and hair, he admitted to me later that he really just saw his parents and forgot where he was. And you can't help but appreciate that. He's mourning his parents. He's mourning his childhood. He's remembering this really significant time in his life. And you can't articulate how that feels to anybody.
Yeah, I can imagine. Tell me this, talking of childhood, as I said, you're only 20 and yet you've been in the business a while. Was there a eureka moment for you when you thought, I'd like to be an actor?
You know, I did a theater
There
camp.
Doesn't have to be.
No, there wasn't really a eureka moment. It was just, I was 8 years old doing a theater camp where in the summer, at the end of the summer, we do a play with other kids. And I just loved that experience so much. I was the youngest. I was with a bunch of older kids. The older girls would play with my long curly hair, and that's like the coolest thing ever. And I just loved playing with everybody, and I loved the games, and I loved performing, and I loved the dancing and the lines and the singing. And so as soon as the summer ended, I thought, how can I do this all the time? And I signed up for acting classes, and so I would do that during the school year. I'd go back to the camp in the summer. I did loads of plays at that camp. And then when I was 11, I started auditioning for things. I booked something that helped me get an agent. And then it was just like my soccer practice. It was what I'd be driven to. It was, just something, and I knew I wanted to do it, but I never thought of it so existentially until later on in high school. And I started applying for universities, auditioning to get into theater programs and drama programs. So it was a really gradual way of myself just getting comfortable with it and slowly falling in love with it and realizing I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it paid off. Here you are in the latest Spielberg project. I think that the girls will continue to play with your short curly hair following your fantastic performance. The movie's great, Gabriel, and it was lovely to talk to you, and continued success.
Lovely to talk to you. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot. You too. Bye-bye.